and welcome into the 17th episode of Before and After Talks. I'm joined again by Maddie.
I'm back.
Maddie, it's been a while.
Has it?
Yes, a whole week.
A whole week indeed. Well, considering the time lapse between Pink's album and then the last time I was on there, this seems pretty short, but I'm glad to be back.
That's good stuff. Well, this is the Before episode on Ed Sheeran's number 6 collaboration project album. It's a mouthful, I'll tell you that much. This episode's coming out on the 15th. Few more episodes coming out this October. So right now it's the before, but we're going to have the full after review, and we're going to be joined by the lovely Maddie once again for that.
I will be back yet another time.
And that episode's going to come out this Friday. It's the after on Ed Sheeran's album. And then the following week on the 25th of October is the third edition of After Hours with Devin and Graydon. As mentioned in previous episodes, or if you've listened before, that's our explicit bonus series to Before and After Talks. It is after hours, business is done. Just friends catching up, telling stories, and talking about whatever comes to mind. That is the fun part. So that's looking at the rest of October. And if you want to see that schedule, and if you don't remember or don't want to rewind, Maddie, where can they find that schedule?
They can find that schedule right up on the Instagram, our latest Instagram post, actually. I believe you can also find it on Facebook. Those are like our two main social media platforms that you can find us on. So I would definitely go check those out if you're ever needing to.
How do they find us, though?
Oh, good question, because they can't just search that up.
Yeah, they're like
where's
random
the schedule?
From random kid.
Yeah, right. They can look up Before and After Talks on both, actually on all platforms, basically. We've changed that again. So yeah, all platforms, Before and After Talks. And then you can go and look at that schedule, because then it will be on there. But make sure you hit that follow and you hit that like, and you make sure you are doing all of those things to make sure you're getting all of the good details and information.
We got to use that YouTube language. Make sure
you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Wednesday.
Hey, wait.
Thanks, Jenna Marbles. I love her. Anyway.
I was going to say, I mentioned YouTube. Maddie, do we have a YouTube or something?
We do have a YouTube, and we are working hard to keep that going. And so is Billy.
Hard, or is Billy's working hard?
Thank you for correcting that. I like to pretend that I really do a ton here. I'm just here for the conversation. I am not super tech savvy. But correction, Billy is the one that's working so hard in doing the YouTube channel for us and helping us out with that. So it's been a blast seeing what he's coming up with. It's really cool. I know he's putting so much time. So as always, a big shout out and thank you to Billy for doing that. But yes, we are getting up that YouTube channel and making sure that we can be heard and technically seen through the visuals that he creates on YouTube.
When we discussed YouTube, we did have a video a long time ago deciding that we're going to make a YouTube and talking a little bit about what it'll entail. But I just told him, just put our logo on there, put the audio, call it a day. He has gone into
above and beyond.
Exactly. Every episode, all the details, made really cool things, and he's having fun with it. So as long as he's having fun, I don't have to pay him. So it's okay.
Don't say that out loud.
All right, you listen to us rant enough. We're getting into the Before episode. We're going to be talking on the Before reviews, talking about the hypes on Ed Sheeran's album. We're going to get into Martin Scorsese's comments. Maddie doesn't watch movies, but she's heard of him. He's a famous director, and he just bashed on Marvel.
This is the second episode that you have brought up my lack of movie understanding, and I'm feeling a little hurt by it.
I'm going to have an apology episode that's going to be number 18. We're going to have 5 episodes.
We're going to move back that the after of Ed Sheeran and the third Before and After Talks just so he can apologize.
I'm so sorry.
I am hurt. Anyway, moving on.
Stay tuned for that episode. Hit like and subscribe to our YouTube to watch more of that. But we're going to get into that. He bashed on Marvel. Not good. Joker was the biggest thing coming out, biggest film in a long time. I can't say a long time, but it's super popular. Maybe, yes, a long time.
Well, I would say maybe within that
couple years. Besides, obviously, Marvel topping, it made the most money. It topped Avatar.
Exactly. Well, and then when you have Marvel in that whole industry, when you try to compare that and the amount of movies that they have been putting out in the last 5 years, it's just insane. So in comparison to that, yeah, it's been a little bit.
Listen, Martin, we respected you, but you messed up. James Gunn said the same thing. We'll get into that. So Joker, we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to finish up with 2 music things. With Spencer, we do usually do a few more topics to go into them, but with Maddie, we're just going to cover this and stay with music because she has a lot of great insight, and then she may listen to this person we're going to talk about. But we're also going to include the Hot 100 because we like to go over that. And guess what? No more Old Town Road at number 1. So a little sneak peek for you. And we're going to finish it off with Drake's dad saying stuff. Does he have a dad? Apparently. You want to see a picture of him? I'll show you in a little bit. He's something. So let's kick it off on the before for Ed Sheeran's album. Maddie, tell me what's going on with the album.
So what's interesting is this is his, I guess, considered his 4th studio album. And this album is a little bit different than the last 3 studio albums that he's produced. The last 3 were the Plus, Multiply, and Divide albums. But this one's different because this one follows up his, I think it was his last EP that he did, which was the number 5 collaborations project. And to follow that up, he named this one number 6 collaborations.
He has
project.
one called Number 5?
Yeah, and that one was released in 2011, but not many people know about that because that was right around the time that he was getting, he was signed to be big, when he made it right around that time.
This isn't a joke or anything, but did he make 1, 2, 3, 4 at all?
No.
It just started with 5?
Genuinely, I thought that too. I'm still trying to figure that out,
because it's his album with everyone featured on it,
well,
right?
Well, because that's exactly it. The title of it, calling it a collaborations project, means that every single track that he produces on that album is not just him. Where his Plus, Multiply, and Divide album, they were all mostly just him. I think I can't say that they were all just him because there might have been a couple featured
but
artists
it's still
on
him
it.
Releasing it.
Exactly, but and it's just him on majority of the tracks. Where the collaborations albums, both number 5 and number 6, it's at least one other person that he has collaborated with and produced and written, and they're both featured, or there might be multiple actually in the number 6 previewing it. There are multiple people in some of the other tracks too, so it's not just 2, there can be multiple, but each and every person in this project is involved at least in one song, and it's their song with Ed Sheeran, so it's pretty cool.
It's a wide range of people.
It is. It really is. And looking, if we can do this compare and contrast, and I don't know if you want to do this right now, with the number 5 to the number 6, because even I was looking at, in particular, the number 5 collaboration album and who was featured on those, and my lack of knowing who the people were on these on this list.
Shows how much he's grown.
Compared to the number 6 collaborations album and everybody who's featured on that, there are some big names on this number 6 collaboration project that I think kind of touches on a lot of different genres of music. So I think everybody will kind of have something to like, at least something in this album.
Yeah, it looks like it's 15 songs. Some big names alone: Travis Scott, Eminem. Was 50 Cent one of them?
50 Cent. So yeah, you have, I'm literally just going to go right through them. Khalid is on the first track. You got Cardi B and Camila Cabello. Chance the Rapper. I still don't know if I'm actually saying this right.
He's not included.
Who are you talking about?
Who are we talking about here?
I don't know. I was going to say Yebba. Is it? It's Yebba. I'm still kind of familiarizing myself with some of these artists too, but I have seen the name before. You have Justin Bieber. Everybody knows that name. Travis Scott, huge name right now. Eminem and 50 Cent, which is kind of throwback, and it goes with the title track, Remember the Name, so it's awesome. Young Thug, LMA, or LMI. I'm still learning that one too, but I really like her. She's a really cool artist. I really like her so far. And then there is the artist Her, Her, Meek Mill, A Boogie with the Hoodie.
Why?
Skrillex, and last but not least, Bruno Mars and Chris Stapleton. So those are some of the biggest names. I didn't even name all of the names that are on this, just the ones that are a little bit, maybe the general public's a little bit more familiar with. So huge, huge names. And quite a wide range of genres too, when you're going from 50 Cent to Bruno Mars to Chris Stapleton to,
and he fits all of them,
Justin Bieber and Cardi B, Khalid. It's huge. That's a huge range.
Now, all of these people are famous. They're big names, so they're a little busy probably. This album is 15 songs at around 49 minutes. It was released July 12th of 2019.
Yep.
How long do you think he was working on it? Because I mentioned these are busy people, and it's not easy to.
Yeah, we talk about
they're
us
not
being
all in the
busy.
same place.
Yeah, we talk about us being busy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm wishing I knew a little bit more of the background information on it. But you know what? I think that'll be for the after episode as well, when we can dive into that a little bit more of the reviews and maybe a little bit more of the background behind it too. I can only imagine with all of those tracks, it's taken quite a while.
I found on Apple, they have the little preview, the little text. Well, Ed Sheeran actually wrote the text himself.
Okay.
If you look up the album and then
the description of it on
exactly.
Apple? Okay.
So this record was based on one I made in 2010 called Number 5 Collaborations Project with a load of artists I liked. I had a little folder on my laptop called Number 6 Collaborations Project, so I started ringing up people who I wanted to work with. I think the first was Camila, and then it's sort of opened from there. I based myself in Nashville, set up a studio there, and started making songs. So whenever an artist passed through Nashville, I would hit them up, and they would come to my house.
That's interesting.
We'd make a song and then record, and then the record was made over the course of 3 months with lots of people I like. I really stepped out of my comfort zone on some stuff, no kidding. It was very fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. From Ed.
That's kind of cool. I mean, the fact that he set up a place in Nashville. I mean, that's one of the biggest music hubs. Literally. And just was like, oh, well, Chris Stapleton's touring around here and he'll be here on Saturday. So, you know what? I'll give him a call. Maybe he wants to come a day early and we can record something. That's crazy.
It's a fun vibe. The fact it's a fun way of making it, and you kind of get that fun aspect listening to the album.
Oh, yeah.
Which we will do fully. I haven't listened to the entire thing. You have?
You have to do it.
Okay.
So I'll save my reviews and my opinions of them for the next episode, but would recommend for sure. I won't give too many details.
That's the before on Ed Sheeran's Number 6. Oh, hold on, let me get ready for this. Ed Sheeran's Number 6 Collaborations Project album. That's the before, and the next episode is going to be the full review, the after, number 18. So we're going to take a quick music break, and then we're going to get into some movie news. All right, Maddie, what do you think of Marvel? Are they good or anything?
Oh, well, I'm not the biggest Marvel fanatic.
Because she doesn't watch movies. I'll stop. I'm kidding.
Well, leave right now. Just mic drop, gone. No, what I was going to say was that I am not the biggest fan that I know that are out there in this world. I know that there are some crazy, crazy excited fans for Marvel.
Spencer's one of them.
And I understand because, my roommate's one of them. And I understand the craze around them because these movies, even from a very basic understanding of the plot line, I love them. To me, again, I'm no movie critic, I don't have a film major or any sort of thing, but they catch your attention, and man, they really get you in the feels in some of them.
Well, you and I have been officially dating for 6 years. Congratulations to us. Thank you for putting up with me. I bashed on her a little bit if you couldn't tell. But plenty of movies have come out from Marvel, and all the superhero movies have come out during that time period. The only one I can remember us seeing together is Endgame, the newest one. The biggest one.
I don't want to believe that.
It probably isn't, but the biggest one is Endgame, numbers-wise. We got to the movie an hour early to get to my point. We got there an hour early.
We also saw it
crowd.
On the day, the second day of its release.
Did we? Yeah.
Because we went on a Saturday night and it was released that Thursday night / Friday. So, we knew that we were getting ourselves into some trouble here if we didn't show up.
Just for how big this movie is, there was actually people who got, I don't know about people, but one person in particular that actually got beat up. I don't know what city it was, but he walked out of the movie. And then obviously there's people waiting to go into that theater. So he walked out and spoiled the ending. If you know the ending by now, I know the spoiler ban has been lifted. I won't spoil it for you, but you probably heard. There's a big death. Anyways, he spoiled that and people jumped that man. That's the power of this movie.
He deserved it.
He deserved it. Yes, we're glad he's gone.
Jeez. I don't say gone, but I'm glad he learned his lesson.
Yes.
Because, man, that is a mean move is what I'm going to say.
For
I'm
going
to keep this very
but for
PG.
this alone, the fact that all these people jumped that one kid over the ending.
The end of an era.
Of a 3-hour film.
You cannot, no,
be a little pissed off from that alone.
Anyway, moving on with that.
The whole point is Martin Scorsese. Maddie, you said you've heard of him?
Yes.
Famous director.
Those of you who are actually really into movies and you're listening to this because it interests you, I'm so sorry that you probably offended at the fact that I only recognize the name. I'm terrible with names. I can do faces, but names not so much.
Well, in this article from USA Today, Sydney Henderson made it October 4th. So was it last week or so?
I guess so.
So weird. Yeah. It's going quick. But if you didn't know, Martin Scorsese made Taxi Driver, Goodfellas,
Yes,
The
okay.
Departed.
Yep.
Holy cow. Forgot about that movie. And on Netflix, coming up is The Irishman. He has a ton of big names, and Sebastian Maniscalco actually sneaked his way into the film.
Sweet.
So you got that to look forward to. Maddie will
Sweet.
probably watch it now. So he's made a bunch of films, and he's done different genres, I guess you can say. He said Marvel is not an art.
That's a
And
bold statement.
that
Is
yeah.
asking, just like the guy who spoiled it, that's asking for a beating.
Hold on, Maddie. Keep talking. I'm going to keep looking for this quote
That's
here.
fine. No, like that is a big and bold statement that he is making and might kind of turn off some of his viewers. They might be turning their heads to that because wow, that's something really huge to say. And like I said, to say that, and he really might get beat up for that.
All right, I'm ready. All right. He said, it's not cinema. Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances. Hold on.
This is wow.
Under the circumstances.
Why did he say the actors doing the best they can?
They got the most money. Okay. He says it's related to theme parks. Really, it's just a lot of. He didn't say. He said the theme parks. End quote. I'm thinking, yeah, it's a fun movie. Big pull to it. He says, I don't see them. I tried. He said, it isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional and psychological experiences to another human being. That's pretty big. That's what his films are all about. And one more time, it's, the film isn't human beings trying to convey emotional and psychological experiences to another human being.
Interesting.
We felt plenty, especially from the end of Endgame, I know that. But that's a big thing from Martin Scorsese, who's, credited director, very famous, award winner.
He's basically, in my understanding of that, in comparing that to the Marvel movies. I mean, Marvel movies.
Maddie looks like her mind's blown.
I'm just really thinking deep about this and like what he could have been thinking about this and what prompted him to say that. I mean, that's obviously a pretty bold statement, and has to have some sort of logic behind it. And I mean, I'm curious to really know like the full story and like the full interview of that. But when you do look at Marvel characters, they deal with quote unquote like non-human type of like characters because they have powers that are just not humanistic. But at the same time, I think the viewers, we humanize these characters because they, I think, display so many characteristics of human qualities that we look for. So he's looking at it, I feel like, in a more literal sense of like the characters in the society and the the world, the Marvel world that it is. But that's an interesting take on that. And I don't know, something about it's a little off-putting still, but I feel like I can kind of get where he's going with it, but that's still a little off-putting. Like, wow.
No, I agree. If you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, it's directed by James Gunn. So James Gunn said, Martin Scorsese is one of my 5 favorite living filmmakers. He tweeted a couple weeks ago, I was outraged when people picketed The Last Temptation of Christ. I'm assuming it's a film of Scorsese's.
My guess, yeah.
And he went on to say, without having seen the film, which, like I mentioned, Scorsese says he doesn't really watch the Marvel films. Gunn went on to say, I'm saddened that he's now judging my films in the same way. So, yeah.
But there's also
But it
that
still
aspect.
respects him, he said,
True.
in the end.
Okay, I get that because, you can still have a difference of opinion, and we all as humans need to learn that a lot better, that, we can all still get along and be kind without that. But the fact that neither of them have really seen, he was talking about how
He
he
was saying
hasn't
people
seen.
judged Martin Scorsese's film, and he was actually mad that people did that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I guess that's a fair point to be said. But it is interesting that he didn't see. He is coming from an aspect that like he hasn't seen any of really the Marvel movies. So it's kind of judging the qualifications for him to actually be able to say that.
Now
it's
he's
like, where
also
are you coming from?
an older director, so
True.
he's obviously moved through different periods of filmmaking and styles, and his stuff is different.
It's different.
It's not the Goodfellas.
It's not modern.
It's not modern stuff. Yeah.
So there is that, yeah, for sure, that stylistic and what people are looking for nowadays in comparison to 2 decades ago even.
But the end of the article finished up with promoting Martin Scorsese's new movie, The Irishman. So
Well,
fun stuff right there. We're going to move on to The Joker, another big thing, our last bit of movie news. Just wanted to mention that the opening weekend had around $250 million. So I think a handful of people saw the movie opening weekend.
I think they did all right.
Yeah, so they did pretty good. Phoenix really, truly dedicated himself to that role. He lost like 60 pounds or something, looked anorexic if you've seen any trailers.
No, but I can only imagine. That's dedication.
Because that's really changing your health that much. And he was doing an interview, I think, Jimmy Kimmel, and he was talking, or he was asked, what's it like? Are you just hungry all the time? And he's like, yeah, all the time. Can't even go out to eat because you really can't eat anything. So he's like, what was your social life like? Were people like asking why you're losing weight? He's like, I didn't really have a social life because what do you do when you're social with friends?
You go out or you do going stuff. Out to eat is like one of the things that
when you can't do that, you can't talk to people.
So weird. Wow. That's a good point.
Exactly. So he's truly dedicated, and that's going to lead into a point I'm going to make in a second, or a question I'm going to ask in a second. But just wanted to mention that Todd Phillips did direct it, did a fantastic job. That movie was beautiful, and if you get the chance, it is uncomfortable. There's a lot to do with it. It's the origin story of the Joker, and it kind of leads into the Batman, not knowing if they're going to go anywhere from there, but Phoenix did say he could. But Todd Phillips originally was scrutinized before the film came out that it inspired violence, and we talked about that in our previous episode.
Yep.
And this is going to lead into the final question I wanted to ask you, because the movie's incredible visually.
Yep.
Just listening to it and the topic and narrative of it. Is it worth Best Picture of the Year for the Oscar? We're not going to ask if Phoenix himself should win an award because he just did a fantastic job. But the film itself, should it win Best Picture? And do we want it to be Best Picture as, an audience?
I feel like I don't have the correct credentials to make that judgment.
Well, that's fair. But now with the movie being something that inspires violence, as people said, do you want that being your Best Picture of 2019? So
considering
even
the conversations around it is what you're focusing. Okay.
Even if it deserves it, should it? Just because it's simply, the things it does.
Well, I think some of the best movies, I still stand by this. I think some of the best movies, TV shows, anything, if it inspires or basically touches on a human emotion strong enough that like you laugh, you cry, you get angry, I think that it's doing its job, because it's touching on one of the very few, or one of the most important things about human life is that we experience such a wide range of emotions. So with that perspective, though there is a little bit of that questionable, topic or controversy behind how others might react, I would say through the general population to relate it, to try to like bash it because of those few that might take it in a not okay way, I guess. I don't know how to phrase that really, but to bash it because of those few that quote unquote might destroy, just kind of put a bad rap on it. I don't think that's credible. I don't think that should happen. I think that if it is really that moving and it is that powerful of a film and it's well done, it's well constructed, and it fits right into the story, it has all of those elements, then I would say it definitely should be like for sure considered and is a contender.
Considered.
Yes. And I don't see an issue with it earning that top spot.
Well, there you have it, folks.
You're welcome. I'm just going to do a mic. I wish I could have actually done a mic drop right there, even though
don't drop my mic.
I'm not going to, but yeah, again, your opinion might differ because especially Vince, you've seen the movie in itself. So, you might have a different opinion than myself because I'm seeing it with my understanding around it. Exactly. So maybe if I did watch it, I might have a different reaction because I would experience it myself, and maybe I have a different reaction than other people might have, but going in blind with it, that's what I would say.
Well, I don't know if I don't know how the Oscars or award ceremonies work, or if they have a different schedules at all of 2019, like January to December.
I think that a lot of those award shows have like a weird timeline
where it's off.
It is like, I don't think it's exactly like January like 2019 to December 2019. Like it's not like a calendar year. Yeah. It's based off of like some weird like April of this date or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, regardless, from me not knowing, I'm just going to base it off a calendar year.
Yep.
Some of the big films are ready, so it'll probably be in that. Pictures, Hobbs and Shaw with The Rock, Jason Statham. What else came out? Endgame. And then in December of this year is not Jurassic Park. The one with Kevin Hart and The Rock. What is that? Jumanji 2. There you
Thank
go.
you. I was like, I'm
Struggling
getting there.
there.
I'm getting there. Yes. So the second edition, or not even second edition, the add-on to the first Jumanji, that was, what did that come out? Like 2018-ish?
Yes, I think so.
2018, something like that.
So some big movies there. The Rock,
yeah.
of course, is in half of that. So there you go.
Still a couple things to look forward to.
So it has to compete. Definitely, I think it will be in the picture, and it deserves it. So with that, that's going to wrap up our movie section, and we're going to move into the final section. That's music. We're looking at the Hot 100 and Drake's dad. Actually looking at him, a little weird. We'll be right back. Hot 100. Spencer and I usually wrap up with this, and it was basically getting a little stagnant, so we had to get rid of it. We just couldn't do it anymore because it was the same stuff every week. Old Town Road and Bad Guy. So I only like one of those songs.
Well, and the thing is with the top 100, I mean, if it's a good track or if it's a popular track, it's going to stay at the top for quite some time. So it is one of those things that you kind of have to almost like take a peek at every once in a while, every couple of weeks, to see if anything's changed or anything new has popped up.
Well, this has definitely changed. And if you had to guess what the number one song is right now, don't get
is this
it's the smile. You already know what it is.
I don't. Okay, wait. This is Billboard Top 100.
Yes.
This is Lizzo's "Truth Hurts."
Yeah.
Because I am a fan of Lizzo, and Vince is doing the huff and puff
She is
over
so
there
proud.
because he just doesn't enjoy her music the way that I do. But she has been posting on her Instagram a lot lately, because this is, I think, this is the last week that if it's tied, or if it's at number one again this week, I think it's 6 weeks in a row, it'll be tied for the longest streaming like R&B or rap. I forget the category specifically. That's gonna bother me right now.
Well, you can think about it, and I can go over the list here, because you nailed it.
I know I know literally, because I've been keeping up with her, because I love Lizzo, and I think that she is a powerful girl, that she will be making so many more smiles, so many more albums coming out in the future. I'm just excited for where she's going to go.
She's pretty great. I was on edge, just not a huge fan. And then she was on CBS Sunday Morning. They did a whole interview with her. She's awesome. So
Yes.
check that out if you want. It's like a 2 or 3 minute interview, whatever
Super
it may
cool.
be. Awesome stuff. So number one, you nailed it on the nose. Truth Hurts,
I know
Lizzo.
my Lizzo.
Okay, proud girl. All right, number two.
Number two.
It's been on the radio a lot. It's Senorita, Shawn Mendes, and Camila Cabello.
Should have known that.
Yeah.
I should have. That
They've
one's
been making
definitely
out on Instagram too.
a little overplayed, sadly.
Number three, someone you loved, Louis Capaldi.
Yep.
Number
Good one.
4, Ransom with a $ for an S is the song name by Lil Tecca. Number 5, No Guidance by Chris Brown featuring Drake.
Yeah,
Drake.
that one's been kind of fluctuating over the past couple weeks. You know, it was at like number 7 and like kind of bouncing up and down. So it's interesting that's at 5 now. Not bad song. I like it.
All right, number 6, Bad Guy, Billie Eilish.
Yep, she's been up there too.
She's
Good
doing
for her.
great. Number 7, you're gonna love this one, Circles, Post Malone.
I love this song. Oh
It's
my
a
gosh.
fantastic song.
I've been kind of listening to his like latest album a little bit more, but I love that song so much. So every single time that comes on the radio, I definitely turn it up and I have the windows down.
And he followed this song up with a song with Ozzy Osbourne. So Sharon. No. Number 8, Panini by Lil Nas.
Yep.
We're done with you. Number 9, Goodbyes by Post Malone featuring Young Thug. One more time. Oh, there you go. And to wrap up the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. Maddie, do you have any guess in the world?
Number 10.
It was number 1 for a long time, and I mentioned it like 3 minutes ago.
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a dude. You're right,
It's
Lil
It's
Nas.
Old Town Road. Yeah.
Oh, you
Got it.
nice stuff.
Yeah, because yep. I was cued in there. I got it. I'm
Nice
proud.
stuff. Good stuff. Old Town Road, Lil Nas featuring
So
Billy
it
Ray Cyrus.
did drop down a little bit, which.
It did, but it held up for such a long
But to
time.
even say that it's at number 10, like, that's
Yeah,
still
that's
pretty
okay.
good. Like, really, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, like, wow, you're still doing pretty good for yourself. And I mean, that was a summer hit. So now that we're getting into October, and those crazy kids are going back to school now, and they're in school, they just don't have as much time to stream that song and go crazy over it, because that's all this summer was.
That's all it was.
Yeah. Anyway, but I'm glad to hear about the switch up and how that's, some new tracks have been coming up and coming forward and have been taking those spots. So congrats to Lizzo and Shawn Mendes. No, but I'm not even saying just her.
Oh, okay.
Shawn Mendes, Camila Cabello, like that's good for them. Plus it's just
A lot
cute.
of young people.
Exactly. You know?
And the big thing is Old Town Road, as much as we were annoyed by it, there's a great story behind it. And you can look that up because I don't remember it fully and I don't want to butcher it. But it's great what Billy Ray Cyrus did, stood in, and what they were trying to achieve.
Cool.
All right, so I said Drake was doing good for No Guidance. He's at, number 5?
Yes.
I have the last bit of news before we wrap up. This before episode is Drake's dad spoke on something. Do you want to take a look at this man?
I'm kind of like scared now because you've previewed it twice or 3 times.
Would you
now.
say Drake's a good-looking dude?
I wouldn't say he's the worst looking dude, but
Maddie's
he's
checking out
definitely
other guys.
no. I'm just saying that he's not the worst looking, but I would not
Well,
put
you're not
him in.
going to want to look at his dad. Look at this.
Okay,
That's a walrus.
Stop. I was just gonna preview it to everybody because if those of you listening, you're not looking at it with us, but his mustache is very interesting.
Thin in the middle.
And
very long.
Wow, I can't like that is the feature of him. That and his purple suit that he's wearing right now, his purple tux. So honestly, if you guys
probably a
are able to
wonderful
look
guy.
this up, look up pictures of Drake's dad just to see what comes up because wow, he is making a statement with that stash.
Basically, this was on billboard.com/news. So if you just scroll down, I know this episode's coming out at a later time, but it'll probably still be there. The headline, and probably what the whole article is, because I don't think it's a full article. It says, Drake's dad says son's absentee father lyrics are lies. It's lies, I tell you.
Oh, he's getting defensive. Him and his mustache are getting defensive. I gotta leave him alone. He's probably a really nice guy.
But that stash.
Yes.
He also says, but the rapper, Drake, insists every bar I ever spit was the truth. End quote.
That's literally what he's.
He says, quote, every bar I ever spit was the truth.
Can you guys get a sense of like what type of music we probably listen to more than others?
Or like what's happening
The
here.
fact that we're just like, he spits bars, like we're like, no, I don't know what you're saying there. That's too funny. But wow, I'm glad that you showed that to me because now I can't get that image out of my head. And every single time I will listen to Drake.
Every time I spit bars.
Yeah. No, but every time I'm going to see him, I'm like, but his father looks like this and that mustache.
Good thing he looks good now.
You guys got to look it up. I'm telling you. Do it. Do it right now. That way you can get in the loop and in this conversation.
Maddie, it's always wonderful having you on the show. Before and after talks, the show.
The show.
Well,
thank you very much for having me.
This was the Before on Ed Sheeran's. Maddie, do you want to say it? The album name? Because I'm getting tired of saying this.
That's true. Number 6, Collaborations Project.
Album. Yeah, it's a mouthful. I'll tell you that when I'll tell you that. It's coming out. It already came out because you're listening to it.
That's
so
true.
that was the 15th that came out. On the 18th, the Friday, is the full review of the number 6 Collaborations Project album by Ed Sheeran.
Don't want to miss it.
No, that's going to be a great full one. Maddie's going to go over the entire album and dissect a few songs as of right now. I don't want to put too much work on it.
I have my favorites, and I'm going to keep working on them for this next episode. I'm very excited.
Well, if you want to get ready for that or want to hear more of Maddie, she actually did a review, and I think it was number 6, the after for Pink's Hurts to Be Human album.
Yep, episode number 6.
Exactly. If you like that style, you're going to like the Ed Sheeran review. And then last for October, this schedule on the 25th, After Hours 3.0 with Devin and Graydon. So we have had a packed October and a few more episodes to go. Hope you enjoyed that. This is the Before, number 17. I'm Vince.
This is Maddie.
And that's going to do it.